Hello, welcome back. Today I've got a little different setup here, so I'm going to try and be quick and go through it. Luckily, this is a pretty fast project. We're doing project number 9 of the Arduino Starter Kit. The first thing I'm going to suggest is watching the Arduino instructional video with Therese that explains exactly how to do things. We've watched many of them before, so I would look at that before you even do this. I'll have that posted, and then we can take a look at what we're actually making. So I'll show you the final project right now just to give you an idea, right? So we're going to have something that looks like this. If you want, you can pause this to see my wiring if there's a problem for you later. One of the key things is making sure this metal is facing that way in the project. Notice that we're going to have a battery to power it as well as the USB. So we're actually using the USB on this switch and this battery on the motor. So we got two sources of power. One source of power tells the other one to activate. So this button is running off the USB. It communicates to this, which then tells this power supply to go to the motor in simple terms. So this is what your project should look like. You're going to make something like this. You're going to put that on there. And as you press the button, the wheel will turn. And you can go really fast and it'll create different illusions, right? This is a pinwheel. I like it at the slower speeds. It's just a little bit more interesting to look at these speeds about here. I love that, but that's what you're making. And you can kind of press it lightly to do a little bursts of speed. Or you can, whoa, or you can get it going. You could also put like a toothbrush there and brush your teeth, right? Don't do that. I'm just joking. So one of the other cool things in this project is they talk about how a motor can use electricity to turn, or it can be turned to create electricity. If you think about a hydro dam, those are magnets turning to generate electrical current. Well, there's magnets in here that you can alternate to generate, just like if a stream was running over a dam, turning the wheel. Well, this can work like a generator. It can be a motor or a generator. I'm going to show you here in the booklet. If you read the project, they tell you that you can actually spin. Let's see. Get a good connection here. Oh, I just had it working. Let's take a look. But you can connect an LED to the motor. Oh, that's disappointing. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at what we did here. Sorry about that. You can connect an LED to the motor. And I think it's this red one. Let's see. And generate a current. Let's see if that works in a pinch. Actually, when you're done your project, you can try it at home too. You can, there you go. Take a look at that. It lights up. As I spin the motor, I can get the LED to light up. So I'm using the magnets turning, generating electrical current to power something, as opposed to sending power in. Look at this. Take a look. Here we go. So I'm spinning this. And I'm lighting up that because I'm making electrical current by these magnets in here and sending it to here. In our project, we're sending power to this side of the motor to make it spin, right? We're giving it power to make it spin, but this can work both ways. Now, since it can work both ways, we've got to include a little part here. You will see the diode, this little thing right there. Because that's a diode, what its job is to make sure that electricity only flows one way. Because otherwise, if this motor keeps spinning, it could start generating electricity and sending it back into the circuit once you're done pushing the button. That could be damaging to the entire Arduino. You could be sending current from the motor spinning back into the circuit if you did something wrong or you turned something the wrong way. But a diode only lets electricity go one way, so it stops that from ever happening. It stops the backflow, as they call it. So how this circuit basically works in simple terms, let's look here. you've got a switch wired, right? The switch is wired to a pin. And when you push it, it sends signal, and our code will say if this is on down here, then send signal to here, and it sends it to this part right here. Now this transistor here is like a digital gate. If signal is sent to one, then a connection is made. So there's 3 pins you can see here. Let's see. And the way these work is that these two can connect, these 2 pins, only if there's power supplied to here. So if you send power to here, a connection is made and the rest of your circuit can carry on. So how we do this is we use the switch with our little power supply coming from the computer. We press it. That tells this circuit to connect, which then enables the battery to flow into our motor to make the pinwheel move, which is pretty cool. I'm having some trouble today. Like I said, new setup, and I'm a little disoriented. That's okay. You can see here. Pretty cool. If you look at the code here, there's really not a lot there. Let's take a look at what the code says. Input is 2 and our output would be 9, which makes sense because we're using the switch to power input 2 if we press it. And if that happens, we are going to output of 9, and you can see here, it's a very straightforward code. We've just kind of added another level of gate. So you've got to know what a diode does, and you've got to know what the caps do, or sorry, let's see, project 9. You need to know what the transistor does and what the diode does. Those are the 2 most important parts, right? This is a switch that's activated off electricity, and this allows electricity to flow one way. This is an extra power supply because this motor takes more energy than can be supplied by the low power 5-volt from our laptop. But like I said, the code is super straightforward. If you read through it, it's if this is on, send power to here. If that happens, high power out, the end. There's only 16 lines of code, if you could even call it that, which is pretty neat. Couple other things. Building this one, building the circuit isn't hard. Writing the code isn't hard. The actual tricky part of this project is getting this pinwheel on a disc and building this little part. So let's just take a look down here. This part is just the wooden parts from your Arduino kit overlapped on each other. You can see this one goes over and under right there, and that's where your motor, it fits perfectly. There's little stars on the motor. They fit perfectly into the stars there. You could put a little piece of sticky tack or something if you want to make a good connection. You could also put sticky tack or something on here for when you slide that part right in there, because it'll slip, you'll see. Well, mine didn't slip this time, but if you, sometimes the wood will turn faster than the disc, and that's a problem. So what I suggest is making a little sticky tack to connect that so it's nice and connected. You're going to have to use a disc, and I folded the paper around. Take your time, fold it in each one, and that's what it should look like on the back side. If you need to use a little glue and glue it onto a disc, if you have an old disc that you're never going to use again, you could do that, and the person who gets your kit next year will thank you because you've already done one of the most annoying parts for them. But it does neatly fold around the disc, tab into tab. I used a little glue to glue mine in. Now I've got a permanent disc here that I can attach to this, to the motor. Nicely fits in those notches. I can put that in there, press the button. Huzzah. So I kind of rushed it today. Apologies for that. But remember, building this takes a little bit of time. This gets really frustrating. Don't start throwing it around if it's not working. It's a hard thing to fold and bend. But when you get it, it feels really good. Connecting these, you probably want to glue these together. You don't want to glue these together necessarily because we can use this for other projects. What else? I don't know. You're using a motor, and we're going to carry that over to the next project. Now that we've learned how to control the motor in short bursts, we can do other things with it. So we will meet, and I want to see proof that you've got this project working. And the code, if you're having any trouble, you can contact me. Like I said, the code is pretty straightforward. And the board, if you want to look at this again, Nothing too crazy, but if you want to pause it or look at different angles of how I've done things, straightforward circuit. So I hope you enjoy it. It's a neat project and it builds onto what we're going to do next. So good luck. I'll give you a few days to work on this and we'll see you soon. Cheers.